Have you ever found yourself stuck in an endless cycle of planning, researching, and getting ready to start that new habit, but somehow never actually beginning? If this sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone, and today we are diving into one of the most eye-opening chapters from James Clear's incredible book Atomic Habits. Chapter 11 is called Walk Slowly, but Never Backward, and it's going to completely change how you think about building habits. What makes this chapter so powerful is that it tackles something we've all experienced but maybe never put into words. You know that feeling when you spend hours watching YouTube videos about the perfect workout routine, reading articles about the best diet plans, or researching the ideal morning routine, but then somehow never actually start working out, eating better, or waking up earlier? Clear calls this being stuck in motion instead of taking action, and understanding this difference is absolutely game-changing. Let me start with a fascinating story that perfectly illustrates this concept. Picture this: on the very first day of a photography class at the University of Florida, Professor Jerry Uelsman divided his students into two groups. The left side of the classroom became the quantity group, and their grade would be based purely on how many photos they took. 100 photos earned an A, 90 photos a B, and so on. Meanwhile, the right side became the quality group, and they only needed to submit one single photograph for the entire semester, but it had to be absolutely perfect to earn an A. Now, here's where it gets interesting. At the end of the semester, which group do you think produced the best photographs? You might assume it was the quality group, since they had all semester to focus on creating one perfect image. But here's the surprising twist: all the best photos actually came from the quantity group. While the quantity students were busy taking hundreds of photos, experimenting with different lighting, trying new compositions, and learning from their mistakes through constant practice, the quality group spent the entire semester sitting around theorizing about what makes a perfect photograph. They had lots of theories, but very little actual experience. This story perfectly demonstrates what Clear calls the difference between motion and action, and it's probably the most important concept you learn about habit formation. When you are in motion, you are doing things that feel productive but don't actually produce results. You are planning, strategizing, researching, and learning, which are all good things, but they don't move you closer to your goal. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that actually delivers outcomes and creates change in your life. Think about it in terms of getting fit. Motion would be spending hours researching the perfect workout program, reading fitness blogs, watching exercise videos, and planning your ideal gym schedule. Action would be actually putting on your workout clothes and doing 10 push-ups right now, even if your form isn't perfect. Motion feels like progress because your brain is engaged and you are learning new information, but only action will actually get you stronger. We fall into the motion trap for a very human reason: it allows us to feel like we are making progress without risking failure. When you are researching and planning, nobody can criticize your results because you haven't produced any yet. It's safe and comfortable. But here's the thing. You can't learn to ride a bicycle by reading about balance and momentum. At some point, you have to get on the bike and wobble around until your body figures it out through practice. Clear introduces us to some fascinating science behind why this happens in our brains. There's something called long-term potentiation, which is basically your brain's way of getting better at things through repetition. Every time you repeat an action, you are literally strengthening the neural pathways associated with that behavior. It's like creating a well-worn path through a forest The more people walk on it, the clearer and easier it becomes to follow. This is where habits reach what Clear calls automaticity. Think about when you first learned to drive a car. Remember how overwhelming it was. You had to consciously think about pressing the gas pedal, checking mirrors, steering, and signaling all at the same time. But now, you probably drive to familiar places without even thinking about the route. Your brain has automated these behaviors through thousands of repetitions. Here's something that might surprise you. Habits aren't really about time, they're about frequency. We've all heard that it takes 21 days to form a habit, but that's not actually how it works. What matters isn't how long you've been trying to build a habit, but how many times you've actually done it. Someone who does 10 push-ups every single day for 2 weeks will be much closer to making it automatic than someone who does a perfect workout once a week for 2 months. This is why Clear emphasizes getting your repetitions in rather than waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan. Every single time you choose the healthy snack over junk food, every time you write one paragraph instead of scrolling social media, every time you do a 5-minute walk instead of staying on the couch, you are casting a vote for the type of person you want to become and strengthening those neural pathways. Let's make this really practical with a simple example. Say you want to start reading more books. The motion approach would be creating the perfect reading list, researching the best reading techniques, finding the ideal reading chair, and planning out exactly when you'll read each day. The action approach would be opening a book right now and reading just one page. That single page moves you infinitely closer to being a reader than hours of planning ever could. The beauty of this approach is that it takes the pressure off being perfect. You don't need to read for an hour, you don't need to understand every word, and you don't need the perfect environment. You just need to read one page, then tomorrow read another page. Each page is a repetition that's training your brain to see you as someone who reads. Clear also talks about what he calls the habit line, that magical point where a behavior crosses over from requiring conscious effort to becoming automatic. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't have to motivate yourself to do it or remember all the steps involved. You just do it because it's become automatic through thousands of repetitions. That's what we are aiming for with our new positive habits. The key insight here is that crossing the habit line isn't about time or motivation, it's about accumulating enough successful repetitions. This is why starting small is so powerful. It's much easier to do one push-up every day than to maintain a perfect workout routine. But here's the magic, once that one push-up becomes automatic, it naturally tends to grow. Your brain starts thinking, well, I'm already done here, might as well do 5 more. This chapter completely changed how I think about building habits because it removes the pressure to be perfect from day one. Instead of trying to become a fitness enthusiast overnight, you focus on just showing up and doing something small every single day. Instead of trying to become a meditation master, you just sit quietly for 2 minutes. The repetition is what creates the change, not the perfection. What makes this approach so sustainable is that it works with human psychology instead of against it. We naturally want to avoid failure and criticism, which is why we get stuck in motion. But when you focus on small, simple actions that are almost impossible to fail at, you start building momentum and confidence. Success breeds success, and each small win makes the next action feel more natural. The most important takeaway from Chapter 11 is this: stop waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect motivation. Those things might never come, and while you are waiting, you are missing out on all the repetitions that would actually create the change you want. The path to building powerful habits isn't through perfect planning, it's through imperfect action, repeated consistently over time. Remember, every expert was once a beginner who just kept showing up. Every author started by writing terrible first drafts. Every athlete began with clumsy movements. What separated them wasn't superior planning or perfect conditions. It was their willingness to take action before they felt ready and to keep taking action even when it wasn't pretty. So here's my challenge for you. Pick one small habit you've been thinking about starting, forget about creating the perfect plan, and just take one tiny action today. If it's reading, read one page. If it's exercise, do one push-up. If it's meditation, sit quietly for 1 minute. Don't worry about tomorrow, don't worry about being perfect, just focus on getting one repetition in the bank. What habit are you going to take action on today? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you are working on. And if this video helped you understand the difference between motion and action, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights from the best books on personal development. Remember, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to start. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.